So you're thinking about buying a home in Pennsylvania. Maybe it's in Philadelphia or one of the surrounding suburbs like Bucks County, or maybe where I live in Montgomery County. And if you're currently contemplating this, more than likely you have also asked yourself whether or not it makes more sense to buy a new construction home or buy an existing home, one that's already part of a community. With the economy shifting, tariffs on a rise, and builder incentives changing the game, this question has become more and more complex by the day. Let's break it down. So as you know, we're under a new administration here in the US, and regardless whether you agree or disagree with what the administration is doing, it's important to know or keep a pulse on what they're doing, because there's a lot of changes to the housing market. Not only are there changes from the administration side of things, but there's also changes based on consumer behavior due to financial stress. A lot of consumers in the US, both homeowners and non-homeowners, are really starting to feel a financial strain. So a lot of that is also going to impact what people do when it comes to not only buying, but when it comes to selling real estate. And another thing that I just want to get out of the way now, whether it's here hyper-local in our Pennsylvania real estate market or other markets across the country, I'm noticing that a majority of big builders are starting to get very aggressive. They want their product to be more attractive than other homes on the market. So ultimately, my goal in this video is to give you some things to consider, some food for thought, if you will, when it comes to buying either a new construction or an existing home here in Pennsylvania. So let's start and just break this down with some pros and some cons. Starting with new construction, one of the biggest pros that comes with buying a new construction home is the customization side of things. For the most part, you get to customize your home. Now, I don't know how much you want to customize your home, but this is where you get to pick different floor plans, different models, different finishes, whatever it is, you name it. You literally get your own canvas and you get to customize the home however you see fit. Obviously, with an existing home, that's not going to apply because you're basically buying someone else's vision, something that someone else over time has said, hey, here's how we want our home to look, and you're buying into that. Now, of course, you can make some changes, but you're not going to get to customize it at all. However, the opposite of that is, well, there's a little bit of delay. There's some downtime that comes with customizing a home. Not only do you need to make up your mind and decide exactly what it is you want, but when you're customizing a home, well, it takes a little bit more time to get those customized amenities or features in. So the downside to customizing your home is that it's going to take you a little bit longer than it would if you were buying something pre-existing. Moving on to the next benefit or pro that comes along with buying new construction in 2025, hands down, in my opinion, are the incentives. Not only are buyers finding that builders are issuing credits to help them lower their closing costs, builders are also offering things like mortgage rate buy downs, where they're buying the rate down so that the life of the mortgage payments, the overall mortgage payments, once you take ownership, are lower than if you were to go out and get a mortgage with someone who doesn't work for the builder. But at the end of the day, with one of the biggest reasons buyers are on the sideline is due to financial duress or uncertainty, having a builder incentivized by closing costs, rebates, or a buy down by far beats working with any traditional seller. Sorry, traditional sellers. It is what it is. You just can't really compete with that. But although builders are going to package in some of those incentives in the buy down, one thing you will not be able to do with most builders, and I emphasize most, if you find some one-off builder, maybe this doesn't apply, but usually a builder's price is non-negotiable. Builders do not negotiate down. If anything, when you buy new construction, the price that you see, the price that they use to attract you in, most of the time goes up. But moral of the story, although it's great to get the incentives that a builder is going to offer, just keep in mind that you're not going to be able to negotiate much off of that price. And as we're talking about money and how money matters, when you buy a new construction home, you are offsetting a lot of your expenses that you would generally have to take into consideration when you are buying an existing home. The efficiency of a new home is also superior in most situations when compared to an existing home. But what I mean by that is when you buy a new home, your roof is new, your HVAC, your heater, your hot water heater, your plumbing, all of those things are new. And since they're new, you shouldn't have to put any money into them for quite some time. I mean, a roof should have a life expectancy of roughly 12 to 15 years, depending on the type of roof. Your heater, somewhere 10 years or more, depending on how you service that heater. So again, these are things you don't have to worry about. With an existing home, if the roof isn't new, the heater isn't new, obviously these are things that will have to be addressed at some point, meaning you're going to need to start allotting or putting money aside towards those deferred maintenance items that will eventually come up. So you just, again, existing homes really can't compete with that unless they've been upgraded or modernized to offer those type of features. And as I mentioned earlier, the efficiency. New built homes are just designed better to be more efficient, to keep more of the heat in when it's cold outside, and then the opposite when it's cold outside. So, or warm outside, I should say. But again, more efficiency is something you will see with a new construction home. But with those efficiencies, with new construction homes, for the most part in Pennsylvania, at least most of the new construction homes that I'm aware of, they come with an HOA. Now, some people love HOAs, some people absolutely cannot stand HOAs. What's important to know is that if you're looking for a new construction home, not only are you going to have the cost of making the mortgage payment, maintaining the home, your utilities, but if you're buying within an association, you're also going to have to pay the association dues, and you're also going to have to abide by whatever their rules and regulations are. So as I mentioned, for some, that's not a big deal. Some people want to make sure that they're not going to come home and have to park next to their neighbor's boat, or come home and realize that their neighbor is fixing cars in their driveway. And other people want that flexibility of having the option of painting their front door flamingo pink. But what's most important is just to keep in mind that with new construction comes an HOA, homeowners association, and fees. So now that we've talked about the pros that come around, or the pros that come with buying a new home, let's talk a little bit about the pros that come with existing homes. Let's give some love to our existing homes as well. And one thing that you will not get with new construction are mature trees. Yes, there might be a few, because when they build new homes and they level out land, they may keep a few large trees for whatever reason, but they have to level or get rid of, including the stumps, a majority of the landscape so that they have a canvas to build these new homes. So if you're someone like me who appreciates mature landscape, you're not going to get that right off the bat with new construction. You can plant things, but trees don't grow quick. So if that's something that's important to you, keep that in mind. One other thing is new construction tend to have smaller lots. So if you're looking for a home that has a big 1/2 acre, 1 acre plus lot, not to say that they don't exist with new construction, they're just few and far between. So a pro is definitely having that larger lot, that the mature trees and landscape that comes with an existing home. Now, just like we mentioned, new construction homes are more efficient and they have newer heating units, roofs. Well, obviously an existing home, unless those things have been upgraded, a con here, a trade-off to having that mature landscape is going to be taking into consideration the fact that the mechanics of the home, the existing home, probably will require some attention soon. Hopefully you can find an existing home where they've been upgraded or replaced, but the trade-off in this situation, again, would be the age, the shelf life of the utilities. Now, another pro, something else that plays into your benefit when buying an existing home, is that you have more negotiation leverage. As I mentioned, when buying new construction, you may get incentives, right? You may get gifts, you may get frills, you may get things that make you feel like you're making a great decision because of all of these bonuses, but you're not able to negotiate. So if you're someone who wants to negotiate a price down or negotiate some additional terms into the sale, you're really not going to be able to do that with a builder, but you definitely can do that with an existing home seller. And depending the existing home seller's situation, if they're a distressed home seller or they have to move because they have to relocate for their job, where time is of the essence, your ability to negotiate, your leverage grows even more. So that is definitely something that you have to your advantage and you will not see when it comes to new construction. And before we move off of the fact that you get to negotiate with an existing seller, the more I think about it, there's also some negative that comes along with that as well, because builders are not emotionally attached to their homes. They don't have memories there. They didn't raise their family, their children. They didn't get married. They didn't get divorced. They didn't have their dog. They didn't drink their coffee from the front porch. There's no connection with that property. When you're dealing with someone who has lived in a home for 10 or 15 years, every little thing about the home means everything to them. The fact that the front steps were redone over the last few years for whatever reason in their mind is going to have so much more value than it truly does, or the fact that they used a certain type of stone when they were doing the landscaping. All of these things make it that much more challenging for them to let go. And that could come across in your negotiation, but still nonetheless, at the end of the day, you're able to negotiate with an existing seller. So the last thing to consider is timing. And I wanted to say this one for last, because for me, when you're dealing with new construction, unless you're buying a quick delivery home, one that is going to be ready in 30 days, they didn't find a buyer for it, within reason, you can move into those quick settlement homes within 30 days or so, for the most part. But if timing is of the essence, a lot of times with new construction, this is where you may not be able to consider a new construction home. If you have to be in your home, let's say to start the school year with your kids, or you have to be in your new home to start your new job by a specific date, unless you're willing to either move in with family or maybe rent some sort of temporary housing until your home is built, you're at the builder's mercy. Meaning you might have a settlement date, but if the builder needs more time, they need more time. And there's really very little you can do about it. As a matter of fact, the way the new construction agreement is written, it's different than the agreement of sale we use for a traditional home. And the terms within the agreement of sale for new construction protect the builder from unforeseen delays. So just something to be aware of is that if timing is of the essence, it's a moving variable with new construction. It could take a lot longer. So if you're looking for a more solid settlement date, or maybe even a quick settlement date, then an existing home is by far going to be the better option for you. So again, just to kind of recap, with new construction, there's pros and cons. Pros, you get to customize the home. Builders are giving incentives like you would not believe, and you get to offset expenses because everything in the house is new. Some of the things that you may not like will be things like the HOA, the lack of negotiation that you get with the builder, and the unknown variable around timing. Maybe some settlement delays due to the builder not being ready or being able to finish the project. And the flip side of that, when it comes to buying an existing home, you potentially can negotiate the price. You are able to buy in a community that is already established, mature trees, maybe even a little bit more walkable, and you have the ability to lock in a solid settlement date. You don't have to worry about as many delays as you would with a builder. But as a con, you're going to have to do a little bit more maintenance faster on that home. You're not going to get the incentives, and well, you're not going to be able to get that customization that you would with a new build. So that's really it. Side by side, those are the things that you kind of have to choose from. If I were in your position, honestly, if I had the time to wait with new construction and I could deal with a lot that's less than an acre, I probably would lean towards the new construction because of all of the incentives and the fact that you do get to customize and everything is new. But I would not shy away from a good deal from an existing home, because again, there's a lot of charm and character there. So really there's no one shoe fits all. It's what's going to make you happy, what's going to put a smile on your face, what makes the most sense for your wallet. And if you're trying to figure any of that out, especially here in the greater Philadelphia area, I would love to help you kick some of those things around. If you want to I would love to help you sort through some of those things. If you have questions, or you just want to speak hypothetically about what your real estate search might look like, I would be more than happy to help. I'm Chris Nelson, the team lead of the Nelson Home Group, helping buyers and sellers here in the greater Philadelphia area achieve their real estate goals. And until next time, take care.